All right. JD Vance was interviewed by Theo Vaughn, and there were a couple really good clips that came out of it. Opinion here that's going to piss off a lot of people is that this kind of chummy rapport, this kind of back and forth coming from Theo Vaughn creates more potentially valuable journalism that could come afterwards than a million different pre-canned responses that you hear from the likes of JD Vance from talking to Dana Fash on CNN. He quite literally is, if you listen to the way he's navigating through this conversation, like, yeah, he glazes Trump for sure. And he even glazes JD Vance. He's not attacking him. But in the process, he's disarming him and asking him some fairly fucking valid questions about, I mean, from the dumb guy's perspective, for sure. But like, he literally asked, like, so what do you think is the alternative? You think Elon wanted something out of him? The way that a normal media person would ask this question to JD Vance in a super contentious environment would be, was there quid pro quo happening between the president and Elon Musk? That is what he's asking him. But he's asking him this question in a way where it's like, we're just bros. Like he's doing it in a charming and disarming way. And there's more to it. The reason why I'm saying that is because I think it's interesting because there's the Israel side. The negative side of this, the negative consequence of this, however, is that you end up, I'm not going to say he's platforming JD Vance because, like, that's the vice president, okay? But he is humanizing JD Vance. And the vice president is not human, especially JD Vance. That is the negative consequence of that. I would never be like, he's platforming the vice president. No, the vice president is platforming Theo Vaughn. It doesn't work that way.
He's tweeted like 300 times.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Okay. Then so it's just a
lot
regular
of tweets today.
Are you saying that Theo is in fact a genius pretending to be an idiot to obtain more info? I want to say he's a genius, but I definitely do think he plays up the dumb guy aesthetic. But I think he's a very good conversationalist. Like, he is a... The thing that I think, the worst thing I can say about this is that now it is officially the exact same as CNN. And maybe even worse because CNN doesn't at least like directly chummy up and cozy up to JD Vance and humanize JD Vance. But the neutrality and asking a question and then, you know, just taking in whatever fucking answer the vice president gives is exactly what you see in mainstream news. Like, then it turns into like uncritical glazing. I don't think that Theo Vaughn is equipped enough to fucking handle the counter narratives that JD Vance is pushing here by being like, oh no, it's just like they sold a lot of they actually cut spending. Doge was so successful, it cut spending by fucking billions. Bullshit. That's bullshit. But Theo Vaughn doesn't know it's bullshit. But the reality is, CNN would not also turn around and say that's bullshit. What I find really interesting about this is, and we're going to talk about it here. I tweeted about it as well. What I find really interesting about this is that like Theo Vaughn has let his position be known that he believes that there's a genocide going on and we have to put an end to it, right? And obviously, as someone who believes this, he also chooses to ask this question directly to JD Vance. Now, what's interesting about it is, and I tweeted this earlier, I said, a lot of people ask me what the Democrats get wrong about their independent media strategy. There are a million issues beyond messaging, but on the media front, a Democrat would never entertain having this conversation with someone like myself. Like, the notion that the vice president at the time, Kamala Harris, would come on my show while the Democrats were conducting a fucking genocidal campaign in Gaza as a belligerent, and then to have a conversation, have a back and forth like this on those grounds is unthinkable. No, that would never happen. You see what I'm saying? That would never happen. So I always wonder, it's like, what is it that these guys, the Republicans, like, they just don't care? I guess they do not give a shit. You know what I mean? They do not care. They will go on a show where someone will tell them to their face, like, hey, there's a genocide going on. To be fair, Theo is not you. He's obviously not an aggressive advocate for Palestine. No, he is. Brother, for as big of a fucking platform that he has, are you kidding me? Listen, if Joe Rogan, if it's impactful when Joe Rogan decides he is anti-trans women in sports, okay? And we have an issue with that because of how impactful that is. You have to do that when someone with a platform that's closely resembling Joe Rogan's is fucking unconditionally pro-Palestine. I'm sorry. You don't get to have it both ways. You can't on the one hand say Joe Rogan is so impactful when he's doing reactionary politics and then turn around and be like, and Theo Vaughn is not impactful at all when he's saying that, like, there's a genocide going on in Gaza. It doesn't work that way. It's either they're both incredibly and immensely impactful in political discourse, which I think they are. Horrible take, to be honest, King. This is simply incorrect. You're right. He should not be. Dude, you were talking about a guy who fucking had not only Bernie Sanders, but Gabor Mate on his broadcast. Okay? Hasan is right, chat. We must never doubt our prophet. Exactly. Never doubt your prophet. Aggressive advocacy is insane coping glaze. Aggressive in comparison to a media ecosystem that rarely ever has motherfuckers saying that there is a genocide going on at that level of prominence. Not aggressive in comparison to your Discord circuit, okay? Not aggressive in comparison to what you see from someone like myself. Yes. I know if all you see as far as like pro-Palestinian advocacy is members of your Discord server and the federal agents that are also tuning you up in the Discord server and the Discord moderators that you're inside of your splinter Discord circle that is looking for any opportunity to get feet pics, you know, those guys are real radicals. I'll show you what a real radical looks like. You know, we make memes. We make radical memes in our Discord splinter server. You know, I know. That's great, man. But we're talking about a dude who's like a fairly fucking prominent media personality.
And on like the Gaza thing, just sort of, you know, chat about that for a little bit.
Never back down and only message what you believe clearly. That way you can show other leftists how much more left you are than them. Yeah. No, I always do that. I'm leftier than everybody else.
I mean,
such fucking bullshit. Jesus Christ. Well, The White House lifted the freeze on 2,000-pound bomb shipments to Israel. Bombs are being used to strike displaced Palestinian shelter and makeshift tents, and approved over $12.5 billion in military assistance since taking office in January 2025. Podcaster Theo Vance tells Vice President JD Vance that it appears the United States prioritizes Israel's interests over America's and raises U.S. complicity in the Gaza genocide. Where is the part? Where is this part? I want to see this part. Is it coming up, or did I skip this part? Oh, it's coming up. Okay.
Palestinians as possible, because in some ways they're caught in the middle of this thing too. One thing that I like, I don't love about the whole.
Just so you know, nobody. Wait, what? Whoa! What did this guy say? Just so you know, no one calls for the death of gay people and the subjugation of women than your heroes. You are a pretend progressive, says Doom Cow Cock. Not cock for like Kahan, right? There's no way. That just happens to be. Like, this is not a Kahanist. I'm more left than you, HasanAbi? No, this person's not a leftist. He's fucking concern trolling. He's a virtue signaling, chatter. He does not give a single fuck about this. Are you stupid? First of all, it's a classic take from dickheads who are like, oh, this is really bad for your cause. A person who does not give a fuck about your cause and is actually standing in opposition towards your cause. Secondly, the idea that this is a good gotcha is so idiotic because there is no pink washing an ethnic cleansing campaign, because an ethnic cleansing campaign kills more gay people and more women than any kind of hypothetical subjugation of women and gay people that you are ascribing. Okay? Yeah, Doom Cow Cock feels like he's this could literally be like a Nazi who knows a lot about Kahana's movements and is like talking about the red heifer, or who knows. Could be a Nazi making fun of Kahana's. See, also, the irony is, in terms of fucking subjugation of women and subjugation of gay people, one, Israeli society not so fond of women or gay people either. Two, the Israeli government is actively killing women and gay people in Gaza right now and in the West Bank too. And three, the Israeli government has officially announced their partnership, officially announced their partnership with ISIS affiliate groups in an effort to actually create chaos at the point of aid distribution in Gaza. And if you know anything about ISIS, they are far worse in terms of their analysis of what to do with women and subjugating women and gay people. And last but not least, all of the Gulf nations in the region that you never seem to raise concern about, because they are pro-Israel, are actively doing worse things in terms of subjugation, and they're not even under fire. So the idea that like one party is worse for gay people and women over the other, and therefore it's actually appropriate to genocide the entire fucking population, is already a stupid one. But having said that, it's not like the other party is good for women or gay people either. You don't care about this. You don't care about this issue at all. You just thought this was a quick gotcha, like an actual Palestinian group. Is he this fucking stupid? The answer is yes. Okay? The answer is yes. He might be that fucking stupid. I think he saw the name Gaza, okay, and he thought this was a Palestinian group criticizing Hamas, and he ate the bait. By the way, this is, if you were wondering why the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is an American fake aid agency that is in direct violation of human rights and direct violation of humanitarian law, an Israeli and American aid agency, as a matter of fact, a fake agency that actually weaponizes aid and has, for the past week, shot at and killed numerous fucking Palestinians that are desperately trying to get food in this aid trap that they have designed. If you're wondering why it's called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, it is for the dumbest person you know, Ethan Klein in this circumstance. The absolute stupidest person you've ever encountered in your entire life. Worst stream in a while. What? Why? We can unban this person. Yeah, this new Holocaust defender, Ethan Klein here, defender of the live stream child Holocaust that is unfolding. It's the dumbest guy you know that will go, oh, it says Gaza on it. It's probably a Palestinian charity. That's it. That's the reason why he posted it. And that's precisely the reason why these guys basically named themselves Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Now, of course, ironically enough, not only, no, he most likely knows. No, I think he's actually dumber than you think. He is actually dumber than you think. I think he saw Gaza Humanitarian and thought, oh, this is like a Palestinian charity calling out Hamas. I genuinely think so. Is he malicious? Yes. Absolutely. Now, ironically enough, not only is the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation using aid as a method of further starving the Palestinians and to trap them and to kill them, as it is owned and operated by belligerent occupiers, it has been routinely criticized by every international human rights organization that already exists in the Gaza Strip, that wants to operate within the Gaza Strip, that are being denied operations from the Israeli government. But also, the aid that is being looted or disrupted at the point of delivery is being disrupted by Israeli-backed ISIS affiliate gangs in the region. He knows in being evil and not stupid. No, he's stupid. He's evil, but he's also stupid. I think you guys genuinely are thinking that he's doing this in a malicious manner. Yes, it is malicious.
Right now, it
is certainly malicious. But the reason why he used the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and the release that they put out there, the statement that they put out there, is because he's a dumb fuck, an actual moron, an actual Dave Rubin style moron. Think Dave Rubin. We have evil stupid. Exactly. Like as dumb as Dave Rubin himself. That he saw Gaza, he saw humanitarian, and thought, oh, this is another Palestinian group that's like shitting on Hamas. I'm going to use this now. Anyway, we're moving on and getting back to JD Vance defending this administration doing a genocide.
It's why he cares about solving this problem, because the longer this goes on, the more suffering, the more death. So we're trying to solve it as much as we can.
Thank you for liking and reposting my TikTok. I just started my fan channel on TikTok and YouTube, and your repost doing wonder for my account. Hell yeah. Fuck out of here. He is not motherfucker, he is not preventing the killing at all. JD Vance worried about the optics of not being pro-Israel enough. Yeah, but even this conversation that he's having, think about how different this conversation is than where a conversation like this would take place a year and a half ago. Like, he has to literally massage the idea that, oh, they want to stop an end. They want to put an end to this fucking killing. We see how bad it is. Like, I never in my life thought the fucking Republicans would be lying in the same way that the Biden admin is lying. Like, think about it. The Republicans are trying to act like they're also pro-Palestine too. That's crazy. Under normal circumstances, a year ago, 2 years ago, Republicans would be sitting there being like, what do you mean? They're fucking dogs. Like they're rapist, barbaric, monstrous terrorists. They all need to be cleansed from the land. Hello? Israel is the most moral democracy on the planet. Excuse me, am Israel high? Like, that's crazy. Yeah, now he's gotten to, we've worked tirelessly. We're working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire. That's where he's at.
It's just like when I talk about he lost one of his.
Yeah, fuck Steve Witkoff. He is a fucking liar. Also, it's not Steve Witkoff. It's Donald Trump. It's JD Vance. The reality of the matter is Steve Witkoff is simply an envoy, okay? He doesn't make decisions on his own. He's just simply conveying the decisions that Donald Trump has made. You've been called out.
That Hasan Piker secretly loves Trump Yowie. Here, just look. And that he knew that he fell in love with. And if Elon...
Okay, I'm done.
Now, I know how this looks, but you have to trust me. I have an eye for these things. If you look really closely, you can see deep down in his heart of hearts, he agrees. Deep down, he yearns to know more about the Trump Yowie lore. Why do you think he stopped the video as soon as I started talking about Elon's love? He wanted to be able to enjoy it in his free time without chat looking over his shoulder and bullying him. It's okay, Hasan. We see you and we accept you.
Is this true? Yeah, I've been caught. It's true. I've been jorking my peanuts to Trump Yowie with Elon. Trump Elon Yowie. I condone and disavow. You mean you condemn? You condone it? I officially clocked you, King? Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's very sad, man. Is it, dude? Well, you're something of a human, right? Like, you're kind of like a human. Oh, it's very sad. Also, here's Hamas's changing attitude towards the Witkoff. Hamas demands within these ceasefire agreements are not outside the remit of international law. The full withdrawal of Israeli forces. Here it is.
The finger pointing was mostly on Hamas, largely because of the spokespeople that we heard speaking to it. Steve Witkoff, the main negotiator from the U.S., who essentially framed it that way, saying Israel agreed to this, Hamas said no and changed the terms. It is true that Hamas said no to the deal because it was a deal that made more on Israel's terms than through a process that would lead to an end of the war.
Hamas's demands within these ceasefire agreements are not outside the remits of international law. The full withdrawal of Israeli forces, allowing for the uninhibited entry of aid into Gaza, and a permanent cessation of hostilities. Yet, for some reason, Western media insist on presenting these as unreasonable, illegitimate demands. How this narrative has been able to persist as long as it has is completely unfathomable.
Latest round, I think the finger pointing was mostly on Hamas.
Witkoff certainly contributed to reinforcing this negative portrayal. We spoke to him in the last round of these negotiations and agreed on a plan to end this war. He said our talks were positive and constructive, but when he spoke to the Israeli side, he came back with another proposal, saying it was the only one available. So this is the second time, or even third, that Witkoff agrees with us on something and then makes a U-turn.
Yeah, he went from goat cough to throat cough, okay, as one chatter correctly pointed out. And he is the Antonio Blinken of this admin, and Donald Trump is the Brandon of this admin. The Brandonization is complete. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. The Brandonization of this administration is complete. On this issue, they are not even a little bit different. They are not even a little bit different than the Brandonian admin. Red lines, unenforced. Yes, if you give us Eden Alexander, we'll allow aid in, unenforced. They have all the power in this process. They could tell Israel to fuck off. tomorrow. They could tell Israel to fuck off yesterday. They are not doing that. And the reason for why they're not doing that is because they like that Israel is doing this. It is a part of American foreign policy, which is uniparty. Okay? It is uniparty. That's it. That's it.
This prejudice towards Hamas and the Palestinians is reflected in the American and international media because his voice carries weight. Witkoff certainly contributed to reinforcing this negative portrayal. We spoke to him in the last round of these negotiations and agreed on a plan to end this war.
Sorry, hold on. Oh, we just watched the whole thing. Yeah, this is we're working tirelessly and ceaselessly around the clock for a ceasefire moment from the admin. We are responsible for what our taxpayer dollars do is beyond that. Like, you're talking about us as American citizens, and you're right about that. But these guys are active participants. Remember, they are the American admin. Just like the previous American admin that came before this one, they are directly responsible for this genocide. They are an active participant, an active belligerent in this ethnic cleansing campaign.
Dude, the Russia-Ukraine thing is the most vicious.
Yeah, and he just like fucking moves on. Ugh, gross. He just moves on to Russia-Ukraine. Yeah. At least Theo Vaughn brought up the issue, but he's also not equipped to knowledgeably push back on Vance's obfuscation, which is a perk of appearing on these casual conversation podcasts. Yeah. That's the other side of this story, which is that Theo Vaughn is not going to be able to fucking respond to this and be like, well, how do you say that when isn't that exactly what the previous administration said? You know what I mean? Or even with Ukraine, a knowledgeable person in the situation would then turn around and be like, okay, you think there's immense harm being done. Russia invaded Ukraine. How do you turn around and justify saying to the leader of a nation that has been invaded, that is our proxy in this conflict, that they haven't been thankful enough? Like, how is that solving the issue? How is that actually a matter of diplomacy? How is that the diplomatic approach undermining our proxy that one could even argue we have pushed into taking and making choices that perhaps were not favorable for their long-term standing? Anyway, but I'm glad that comments weren't eating what they were saying. Bro, this is highly suspicious. They're doing crazy PR work to erase the situation. You should have asked Vance why the Epstein's list isn't out. Like, even what the Cash Patel was on Rogan today simultaneously. They got JD to be ready with the PR campaign in front of the mic. The Epstein list stuff is such catnip for the hogs. The Cash Patel conversation with Joe Rogan, I think, did more damage to the admin than it actually helped the admin. And it's like it's perfect. It's a perfect fuck up for them. Like what Elon threw out there was nothing new, right? But he associated the administration's refusal in releasing the Epstein files with the administration's culpability, like directly claiming that Donald Trump, their cult leader, is involved with Epstein, which now adds tremendous pressure I know you're talking about this right now, but are you talking about the LA ICE protest going on right now, or until it passes? I just saw this one and wondered. I talked about it for the first 2 hours of this broadcast. Today it's Saturday. We are going to be moving on to Girly Pop Nation related things right now. I will go back to my regular coverage after. I know it sounds frustrating, and it is frustrating for all of you when I don't immediately dive into breaking news coverage, especially when it's something in my backyard, but I have covered it for the first 2 hours of this broadcast. Okay? If you want to hear my thoughts on it, go back to the beginning of the VOD. I think the Israel stuff certainly is the Israel stuff, and even like the administration's refusal to release after actively fanning the flames of conspiratorial people. After actively fanning the flames of conspiratorial people to not lean into, after making claims that they were going to release the Epstein files, to refuse to release the Epstein files beyond what was already released, what the public already knew about, is one of those like weird points of division that you wouldn't expect, maybe, that actually is quite consequential for a lot of radicalized individuals within the base. Interestingly enough. What the fuck? Jeffrey Epstein's former attorney Alan Dershowitz is now urging President Trump to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? No shot.
Kind of killings that we're going to
what?
Not to foment and incentivize the kind of killings that we're going to see, and it's going to get worse. I have to go now and get security guards. I have been told by law enforcement officials that I am not safe because I am a highly visible pro-Israel supporter, and I have a target on my back, as do many other pro-Israel.
This video doesn't say that at all. What are these guys saying? This video does not say that at all. What is wrong with people? What the fuck? Do people just not watch the clips and then they just like repost? What is going on? Epstein lawyer responds to Elon Musk claim Trump is named in the files as Ghislaine Maxwell pins her hopes on a presidential pardon. I was hired to lead Jeffrey Epstein's defense as criminal lawyer 9 days before he died. He sought my advice months before that. I can say authoritatively, unequivocally, and definitively he had no information to hurt President Trump. I specifically asked him. It came as Epstein's right-hand woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, waited for the Trump admin to respond to her request for an appeal. In a letter on Friday, Solicitor General John Sawyer requested more time to consider Maxwell's request. What? Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers responded to Elon Musk's sensational suggestion that Donald Trump was involved in the late pedophile's crimes. But former Trump friend and attorney Alan Dershowitz tells Daily Mail that he would be right to consider it. Oh my God, he did. Oh my God. He believes the disgraced socialite's excessive 20-year sentence should be commuted for her immediate release and then a pardon. Certainly, she should get a commutation. The sentence was way, way, way in excess of anything she was alleged to have done. Oh my God. Oh my God. Alan Dershowitz unironically gave a quote to dailymail.com to commute the sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh my God. While this bot account posted this, even though it had nothing to do with that statement is still real. She was in part a victim of Epstein. The fact that Epstein died made her a primary target and caused an excessive sentence on her. Some executive clemency is very much warranted in her case. What the fuck? An ultra close source to the Maxwell family told us last week, it's not a bad idea to ask President Trump for a pardon. He knew her. He probably got views about whether she's guilty or innocent. Maxwell's freedom campaigning brothers Ian and Kevin have not so far petitioned for a pardon of commutation. Dude, what is happening? What the fuck? Oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe Alan fucking Dershowitz, Jeffrey Epstein's friend, client, and lawyer. Okay. Sometimes a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, other times a client of Jeffrey Epstein, other times the lawyer of Jeffrey Epstein is now suggesting that the Trump administration offer fucking commutation of the sentence for Ghislaine Maxwell, who played a formative role in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking crimes. This is incredible. The now U.S. Commander-in-Chief had innocently rubbed shoulders with Ghislaine Maxwell and late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Why not? Taco Man has pardoned everyone else that commits crimes. No one ever wrote the Lolita Express should be allowed to give an opinion on what Ghislaine's punishment, especially Alan Dershowitz. The focus should be names listed in Epstein's Paradise Papers, world leaders, actors, businesses. They want loyalists to know they won't be held accountable for following orders. They're going to pardon all sorts of monsters. They'll part of Curtis Yarvin's plans. Ay, ay, ay. Trump told NBC News today, Trump told NBC News about Elon. I assume my relationship with Elon is over. I have more important things to do than talk with Elon. Elon will face serious repercussions if he finances the Democrats. What does this even mean? That's like not even legal. The Epstein allegations are old news. Even Epstein's lawyer said I had nothing to do with it. It's old news. Elon has deleted many of his posts as of last night about President Trump, along with Epstein list posts. Man, what a public breakup happening in front of us.
The Epstein files. And of course, Trump's in them, like everybody else is in them, like I'm in them. Trump had a.
I love that our societal elites are now just saying like everybody was doing the Epstein stuff. Like, perhaps you should exercise a little bit of caution when openly stating that you were fucking involved with Jeffrey Epstein. What a crazy situation.
A friendship with him back 25 years ago, but there's no indication whatsoever that Trump did anything wrong, any more than that I did anything wrong. So just having your name in the files doesn't mean anything. I was his lawyer. Trump was his acquaintance.
And Chris, if I could add one more piece here, what is going to be incredibly...
I have seen the Epstein files.
Elon deletes post in which he claimed that Trump was named in the Epstein files. What the fuck is going on, man? Elon is definitely backing down, though. I think they basically got to him. And Trump now looks like a responsible party in this matter. Elon looks like a bitch. Anyway, speaking of which, I am going to have Vivian on now. What is this? Oh, they community noted your tweet. Elon lied about his visa and his naturalization process. 77,000 likes on that shit, dude. All right, hold on. 1 second. It's like your point on Joshua Cirillo. The right wing is now just openly vile, saying you're obviously on Epstein's list is the high-end version of a rat alarm clock. Yeah. It's fucking insane. It's nutty. Hold on. Ugh.